zone. Some breezier conditions from the south helping with that. Saturday, mostly cloudy skies, high 21. Sunday, a 40% chance of showers roll in. Jesse's house is built in memory of Jessica Martell, murdered by her common law partner. We talked to Jessica's mom and executive director.
Oh, God, you look dreadful.
Your money. If you or someone you know would like to bank at home, keep all the videos and guidance on how to manage your money during these difficult times. RBC, bank at home and stay safe. Gravy delivery? How about Pizza Hut's $10 favorites? Get a medium pepperoni, Hawaiian, Canadian, or margarita for only $10. Order online with code 839 and select contactless delivery. Pizza Hut. Stay home, stay safe.
So don't do it alone. Little encouragement to get to work in 60 seconds to help increase your chances of getting it. To make a lot, let's do something amazing.
When you need relief from your toughest allergy symptoms, sneezing, nasal, sinus congestion, and itchy, watery eyes, fight back with Reactin Complete, one fast-acting, long-lasting solution to relieve all your toughest allergy symptoms. Reactin Complete. Even though we're all apart right now, our Bel Air Direct agents are here for you. And with our easy-to-use digital tools, you can quickly submit, track, and clean everything. So you can get back to what matters most. Bel Air Direct, insurance simplified. Sometimes things just get appliances are essential to daily living, so if you need repairs and parts, trust professionals. We've provided safe in-home service to millions of Canadians. Transmobile Service. Visit us online at transmobileservice.com.
Sometimes it takes a crisis to see what we want. And what matters most is our health and health developing us. We need care to be there when we need it. Tell Kenny not to cut off public health care. A message from HSAA.
Maybe you never thought about owning a hot tub.
Maybe you should. Come into the Claw Spot. You get a fresh one. Tell you about relaxation, hydrotherapy, and entertainment.
We develop high-quality,
Let us put in much of your bag. Prices and everything. Wow!
We are a family.
We want to do business with you.
Let me show you why Hot Tub is Alberta's favorite hot tub. The Alberta government is currently reviewing auto insurance, but in a private no-fault system, insurance companies don't have to listen. Whatever they decide is fine. No fault, no thanks. Make your voice heard at fairav.ca. A message from Fair Alberta. Even though we're all apart right now, our Bel Air Direct agents are here for you, and our easy-to-use digital tools make it possible to view your insurance documents and make changes to your policy whenever you want, so you can get back to what matters most. Bel Air Direct, insurance simplified. Using automation, you've been able to complete the episode of a special hybrid season with the Blacklights by AO Global. You're watching Global Music Live. A shelter that people say Jesse's house is built in memory of Jessica Martell, who was murdered in Francis Street by her common law back in 2009. It's the first shelter in the Morinville area to help people fleeing abuse. Joining us now is Lynn Rosie Chuck, Jessica's mom, and president of the Jessica Martell Memorial Foundation, and Kayla Doss, executive director of the Jessica Martell Memorial Foundation. Well, congratulations. So how does it feel? You've worked so hard for so many years.
Yeah, right now it's been kind of a bittersweet emotions for us. Our emotions are all over the place, but the biggest one for sure is joy and pride. It's one of this community with people that have supported our vision from the start. It's going to be an amazing tribute to my daughter.
Chill.
Walk us through how did you raise the money? So many generous people and community members there.
Oh, wow. We have, first off, when we first started, fundraiser after fundraiser, fundraising events, that people were holding third-party fundraising events as well. We also have our own big fundraiser that we held ourselves, and through the generosity of private donors, organizations. We have some help from the government. It's just been an amazing journey of lots of children with building and people generally want this place to be open to be able to help the many things that are in home.
The area where you're both sitting in it right now. And how many people feel like they're going to take care of and what services are being offered there?
Yeah, so on May 19th at 8 a.m., we're opening our crisis line. We'll be serving individuals and families from any age or gender. We have a 35-bed facility, 9,200 square foot facility that will be open at reduced capacity and will provide service priority to the residents of Sturgeon region and the city of St. Albert.
And you know, unfortunately, violence on the rise, especially during this pandemic. It's too bad we're still talking about this, but it's a much needed service.
It certainly is. We all know what's come out of the news in the past little while, which is totally devastating, and it's just made us work that much harder, even in this total chaos. To be able to provide safety for the families fighting the domestic violence.
What do you think Jesse would say now that we're not done all this work here
Jesse's good with this whole journey. Every time we had obstacles in our way, it just seems like they're there the next day for us. And I feel her, smell her, that's all every day. She's certainly giving big hugs to everybody who's made this dream possible for us.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us, and congratulations again. It's helped so many people that are out there that need your services, and all the best. Good luck with the grand opening.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So that's the other one. He's going to look at traffic. What do you think now? So,
Well, looking at the southeast leg of the Deputy Board, what we did really be able to wonder the fire is the right shoulder for eastbound traffic. If you want to go off of B17 Street over past that fire traffic currently blocking the exit ramp, and eastbound traffic is certainly slow approaching Highway 14 and right now back to past the 17th Street overpass. UCP and home Lowe's is offering free parcel shipping and curbside pickup with online purchases at Lowe's.ca. For Global One, I'm Lauren Fink.
excellent. Well, Canada's famed military aerobatic team, Snowbirds, are planning to roar over Edmonton later this week. The details next.
Behind Florida, more beer Florida. Be inspired by the displays in our beautiful showroom and picture what our flooring options would look and feel like in your home. Visit us for a consultation. Together, we'll build a flooring solution that's right for you.
It's good to know something's changed. We're still looking at the choice. Acting forward, we're still looking at it. We're still. We all this is the right family. They came in because they didn't have the 5% down payment they needed to buy this house. We got them approved to borrow the 5%, get great rates on the mortgage, and now they're moving in. Come see me and my team to make sure you're building the best foundation for your family.
Structube.com, your online destination to discover a full range of modern furniture at exceptionally low prices. Take advantage now of our free delivery with any purchase over $299. Structube, low prices, amazing style.
Now that I'm getting older, a doctor recommended TELUS Living Well Companion. It's a personal emergency response service that keeps me well connected to health. At home, in the garden, or even out looking at me. With its automatic fall detection and coverage across Canada, it's given my family peace of mind. Thank you, first responders, for answering the call every day. And put your lives on the line to make sure that we stay safe. You are community heroes. And you need us to be heroes at home. Check your home's first responder. Smoke and carbon monoxide alarms. Look for the date. If it's older than 10 years, replace it. Thanks to all of our heroes.
Hi,
Hey, you.
you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna run.
Where are you going?
We're running to the finish line.
Oh,
The theme? Do you not enjoy my headband? Come on. All right, I'm gonna stop the video until I come back on at 5:30, okay?
Okay.
Pause the,
Ah, there's the other
you
view.
guys ready?
I was ready.
Yep.
There she is.
We're ready to run. We're gonna run to the finish line. This is as running as I get. In full glam. Did you enjoy? I came downstairs and Anna was like, what is that?
That's the support you want.
Yep, I have the tiger playing.
Do. I do. I know that's not really about running, but it was better. I had Chariots of Fire going earlier. So, you guys ready? We can do the like, you know, dun 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 dun. You guys ready? Who's ready?
I'm ready.
Is a coming, fast and furious. As we move forward here, I'm going to keep this on low. So, we're going to run together. We've got this big marathon that's happening, and there's a finish line, I swear, even if it feels really weird this year. So we're going to get this done together, and we're going to talk about some lessons that we've learned from big goals and what things that you can do to strategize as you're moving towards a big goal. All right, I know there's a bunch of people still coming on. I can see you popping in. Can you
Hello.
hear me okay? Everybody's good? Is the music too loud? The people just coming on are like, what is she wearing? We're running for the finish line. This is as close to a sweatband as I get, unless I pull out a Mary Kay terry cloth mask headband. But, you know, I had Anna searching all over the house for stuff. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't really have anything that's like a sweatband. So Sheena would have sweatbands. There's Sheena. She would have a sweatband. So running to the finish line. As we run to the finish line in Mary Kay, usually there's a seminar involved. Fair?
Let me grab my headband.
Yeah, you better. Do you guys watch Sheena on Instagram? She's always like, here's my little Zumba video. And you guys would be watching me fall over.
But you look
really
amazing,
like
Carol.
There we go. I am getting a haircut tomorrow. I figured
Oh,
the
lucky
safest
you.
thing to do would be to go for the very first appointment before she can see anyone. So Anna and Case and I are going for the very, very, very first appointment tomorrow. Not that I'm that desperate, but I didn't want the shop to be all. So there we go, Sheena. Anyone else has a headband on? Let's run.
Woo.
Prop this up just a little bit more because I feel like I'm
Funny.
down to get my towel for wiping my sweater with. And I don't know where another little box is. I had boxes here. Where the heck are all my boxes? There's one. Okay. Better? I've got my good vibes shirt,
Love
my
it.
headband. Oh, there we go. Selena's got a headband on. do it. So
Running shorts on.
this music is very distracting for me, so I'm just gonna shut it off. Because, you know, hello ADHD, so you know.
This is the
Hello.
largest Zoom call I've ever been on. I'm excited.
I am excited. Okay, so I do have the wheel of names set up so that we can do the draw at the end. So I will make sure that we do it. Please enjoy if you are just joining in. We are running for the finish line, hence the attire for today. And of course, in full contour, I run. So whatever. If you have to stare at your face the whole time, you got to look cute. It's just the law. That's why we sell so much, because people be staring at their own faces all the live long day. So we are working for a huge finish line. We're working for double up or double credit. We're working for fictional top director trips that may or may not happen and go anywhere. We're working for diamond rings that you will get mailed to you. You're working for something really weird this year. It's bizarre. It's totally bizarre. And then what happens is when we're running for the finish line and the finish line is fictional, is that sometimes it can feel like, meh, so what? So I skip it this year. Who will really know? Anybody had that thought?
No.
No, good. If you did, don't admit it. But I mean, we've all had that thought. We all get those thoughts of, if I don't have to go on stage or I don't get to do this, then what's the point? Why would I run for this? Why am I working for some great big goal that doesn't really matter? Like, what is this finish line anyway? Especially because June 30th and then seminar. And here's the big knowledge I'm going to drop on you. All seminar deadlines are purely fictional. They're purely fictional. They are destination addiction, where you earn a different prize every year and then you have to start at zero again, right? So if you don't have a bigger goal involved, if you don't have a bigger finish line involved, then you will feel again like you are starting at the beginning of the race, no matter what. And it won't ever feel like you won any race because you had to start another one right away. Anybody ever do that? Does anybody in here ever run like a marathon or a big race or anything? You know, even just think back to like junior high, who had to do those horrible Canadian achievement participation things, whatever those were. Horrible, horrible things.
Jump for life or jump start for life or something.
Something like that. And then we had all those tests and the like stupid badges.
Horrible.
And participation awards.
You're right. Horrible.
Awful, awful. Honestly, I have serious exercise issues involved with the Canadian participation program. So I do not love it, but I do actually like to work out and I do actually like to do the things that I love to do, but that's not what this is about. This is about that if you were running a marathon, you wouldn't start a brand new one right away. Fair? You would take a break, you would regroup, you would retrain, then you'd run again. But the problem in Mary Kay is that every July is a brand new start of a marathon. Unless you know that what you're basically doing is small sprints towards a bigger end finish line. So seminar is not the goal, guys. Seminar is not the achievement. Is it? It's just a mini one. It's like these mini things that you go through as you run a race. And so when you're running those races and you're working for a finish line, the caution is when you hit that goal and then you decide, okay, well now cool, now I'm done. And then how many of you have a tanked July? Almost every time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Almost every time, because you're like skinned kneed and crying. And if you didn't make your goal, then you're depressed and you didn't do anything in July anyway. And if you did make your goal, you're like, cool, I'm done. And then you rest. And then you have to start all over again. And then you get finally motivated, maybe September, October, something big
True.
comes up, and then you're like catching up all this time. Yes?
Very true.
I know this happens to everybody. And so this is the problem with destination addiction. That's what happens, is that we end up with this finish line in mind, but we don't have a clue about that actually our finish line could be something completely different. Your goal, yeah, is to run full tilt towards your finish line. But that means towards the actual one. What's the real goal in Mary Kay? And it shouldn't have a career path title involved with it, shouldn't have a car involved with it, and it shouldn't have a ring involved with it. If your goal is to be a leader and to be a sales director or a national sales director or anything else, then your goal is really leadership. And so your goal is to lead as many women as you can. So then you might want to place a number on the number of women that you're leading at a certain time. And when you reach that, that's when you know that you've like run your race. To me, that's why I love leadership and I love the Emeriti ceremonies, because it's like they finished. That's the end. And most nationals work like full tilt right into the very end because it's dependent on their pension. You guys know that, right? They get paid best 3 out of the last 5 years. So if their last 3 years are awesome, they're going to get a bigger pension. And they're leaving a higher legacy. So it's not just strategic. It's also that they're going to have more women that are in charge of businesses and running those things. And maybe I'm naive, but I know that you're in this business for more than just money. And I know you're in this business for more than just diamonds. And I know you're in this business for more than just cars. That those are like extras and perks that keep you working and keep you motivated towards the main goal. But I would hope that your main goal is about helping women. And in there, that way, helping your family, helping yourself, helping all of that other stuff. And that's your race. So all we're really doing right now is we aren't running for an actual finish line. We are running a sprint. Just a sprint. And so a sprint requires a very small rest. And what is a sprint? A sprint is a quick burst of energy to get us to a goal. Yeah? So if you were climbing a mountain and you had a particularly hard stretch ahead of you, you would have to like gear up and rest up and get ready. And then you'd have to like full tilt go. You couldn't half climb. You'd fall and die. Like you can't half hold on to the rope, right? You have to like really do it if you're going to do it. And so this is the sprint moment. This is the moment that you are going as fast as you can, but you are only doing this for a short period of time. Because what ends up happening otherwise during a sprint is if you confuse it with a marathon and you confuse it with the actual finish line, then you think there is no freaking way I can do this forever. And if this is how hard top directors have to work, I'm out. And my family is sacrificing themselves right now. And my other life is sacrificing itself. And I'm not cooking any meals for my family right now because it's June. And I can't do that all the time. No one is saying you are. So if you look at your Mary Kay journey as a full marathon, like whether it's to have a great customer base at 65 and then retire, to work until you're 90. Where's that one consultant that's on Court of Sales every year in the States that's like 103? Like that's a goal too. I mean, I go on top director trips all the time with 90-year-old women. They had no intention, or if they did have an intention of being a national, once they hit past 65, they were like, whatever, I'm gonna be a top director forever. And I love it. And they do, they love it. So if they decide to retire, to me, that's the finish line. And all they're doing on the way is these little sprints that get them further towards there. And a little sprint requires a smaller rest. A little sprint requires a big burst of energy that you know will end soon. And a sprint, write this down, is strategic. A sprint is strategic. You cannot win a marathon sprinting the whole way, running full tilt the whole way. You just can't. You will burn right out. And if you decide you're going to, how many of you have experienced burnout? I almost quit to go sell meat. Like legit, the meat guys came to the house to sell us frozen meat. And Matt, the meat guy, goes, you should do this. You'd be good at it. And I was like, I could sell the crap out of meat. I should totally go sell meat. There's no drama in meat. And Scott's like, yeah, I'm fairly certain they don't give you a Cadillac for selling meat. And I don't think you want to sit in a refrigerated truck with Matt, the meat guy, for 8 hours a day. No, I probably don't. But at that moment, I was dealing with a lot of drama and I was like, I'm out. Because I was burned out. I was running all the time. I couldn't understand when people didn't want to run with me. I had no tolerance for people who weren't ready to run all the time. And what happens? My cortisol levels were out through the freaking roof. I was exhausted. I was stressed right out. And no one is attracted to stressed right out people. They're not. They don't want to join your team. They're like, that lady's a Looney Tunes. They are attracted to people in a sprint. So imagine yourself watching a race like your customers are. And you're cheering from the sidelines. Somebody's running full tilt. Now, you love that last moment of watching something, right? Do they show the whole race on the news? No, because it's boring. Would you want to watch the whole last 5 minutes over and over and over again? All like a 45 minutes of that same level of energy? No, because it would be boring. You'd be like, and you'd be expecting, like, please let something happen. Please let somebody, oh, he fell. Yeah. Like, it wouldn't matter what happened, but you would just, like, anything that happens, you're excited about. So a sprint is strategic. A sprint is short. A sprint is short. It has to be. Or it's not a sprint. It's just a loony bin running towards a loony bin goal and then being burned out. So a sprint's strategic, a sprint is short. It's going to be inspiring, but it's going to be short. Okay? A sprint is not sustainable. A sprint is not sustainable. And we get confused, don't we? We think if somebody wants a big goal, they got to work that hard all the time. But they don't. And if they do, they can't do that forever. And then it's like a house of cards, you know, it all falls down. And then you're burned out and everybody else is burned out and they all quit and you're like, what did I do this for? Speaking from experience, to be perfectly candid. So when we're sprinting, we're strategic, we are cheerful. At the end of a marathon, they're happy. They're happy. They probably peed on themselves halfway through the race, right? They're dehydrated. Their nipples are all chafed. Their feet hurt, and it doesn't matter. They're excited because they can see the end in mind. So in order to have a sprint, you have to have a goal in mind for the end of the sprint. You have to know that there's an end to this. That's why June 30th is so effective. And my worry for you is because Double Up is in May, which is like the first time ever in all of history that it's in May, that some of you will go to the end of May and then burn out. Because you doubled up and you're done. And then it'll be June 30th and you'll be like, uh-oh, why did I work so hard in May, start 3 fights with my husband, threaten to move out for nothing? 4. Listen, you guys, every year, head office in Dallas, the travel department gets like 30 emails from top directors who are like, I am not taking my husband. He is not coming. You can just take him off the list. And she goes, cool, I'll talk to you in July. Like legit, I did it one night. I said to her, Carmen, that is it. Take Scott off of this list. And she's like, cool. Yeah, I'll talk to you in July. Because we all take them. But that's what happens. So I want you to be aware that June 30th is the end of the sprint, not May 30th or 31st. So you have to really guard your energy. So a sprint is strategic, but a sprint is a sprint because it's the same level of intensity throughout. So you have to decide what your level of intensity is and stay there. Or you have to break it into mini sprints with mini breaks, which is also fair. Because if you sprint and then you go to another sprint and another sprint and another sprint with no break, you're not actually sprinting, you're just running and you're crying. and burned out. So you have to plan those breaks in. So one thing I really want you to do is I want you to plan a break for July 1st. I don't care what it is. Something fun. You probably aren't going anywhere. But something that you're going to do just for you or for your family that's fun. Why do you guys think I spend 2 weeks at Stampede usually every year? That's my reward. So when I'm running and I'm going full tilt and I'm like dying, I keep telling myself, don't worry, you'll have so much time to have fun and relax and rest and Stampede week. Now I don't have that this year, but you get the picture. Fiona Corby and her husband take off, literally, they fly out at midnight on June 30th. And they go like to the Dominican or Costa Rica or whatever. She's not there to answer anybody's questions about anything. Too bad your order didn't go through. I don't know what to tell you. She's gone. And she's been a top director a long time because she knows that she can run full tilt for that. Then she comes back, she's energized, she's refreshed. One of Fiona's big secrets is she has one of the best Julys ever, always. Her unit does the best in July. Usually they're the #1 unit in July. That's how they work. It's just that that's her natural pattern. So once she comes back from 5 days in the Dominican, she's ready to run again. And she does it in strategic bursts. So it's okay with me and with you and your family and everything else if you're going to run for a strategic burst. The other thing about a sprint is if it is strategic, that means it's strategic. That means it is planned. Before you go on a trip, you have to plan your trip or it will fail. You don't just get on a plane and hope you get somewhere and hope that there's a ride to the non-existent hotel you didn't book. You don't, I mean, it's not Friends episodes where you can just walk up to the thing and get a ticket, right? You have to plan it. So I want you to really plan your sprint. We've got 15 days or so left in May, more than 15, right? And we have another 30 days left in June. That's 45 dinners, at least. Y'all have a plan? And don't be telling me my husband takes care of dinner. We know how that works. We can have the most progressive husbands in the world, but come on, ladies. We know we're running the house. Doesn't matter. And if you're single, you're really running the house. So you have to know that a sprinter cannot survive on chocolate and chips. So you have to make sure that you're giving yourself the right foods, that you're giving yourself the right hydration, that you are working towards a big goal, but you are not going to just be in a sense of grossness. And I know we all did the COVID thing and we all like curled up and ate, but now we're working a little bit differently, right? I feel like we're getting to a sense of like, this is now new normal. So now I'm moving towards a sense of like, I'm actually gonna drink my water every day, right? Like things like that. Doesn't have to be huge. Don't start a brand new diet plan. I did, but don't do it. In May, the year that we were first runner up was the year that my doctor was like, no, you have to go on that autoimmune protocol. And I was earning my very first top director trip and she was like, no sugar, no dairy, no gluten, no potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, mushrooms, eggs. So air. So I had to pay somebody down the street to pay, like I paid her $1,500 for 2 weeks worth of food. And she just made all my meals. But that's strategy, right? And I was lucky that I could throw money at the problem, but you guys have strategies in place. So figure things out. And especially because I feel like you are being more strategic with your grocery shopping and things like that because of COVID, then just be a little bit more strategic about things like snacks for your kids and figuring out dinner and making a plan so that you have a break there too. When you are sprinting, that does not mean you are working or running 24 hours a day. And every time that you get the misconception that that is what it is involved with, you will quit. 100%. Because that is not sustainable and that will make you crazy. Now, yesterday when I was trying to do all of those orders and we were like 13% sale and it was the end, I mean, I was still getting text messages at 2:30 in the morning from my customers because I said, I'm not checking Facebook, so text me with your orders. Hey, hope I didn't wake you. I was sleeping with my laptop. Like, and then I would send a direct ship, and then 20 minutes later she'd message me back, oh, but I forgot. I was gonna send another one. Yeah, that'll be fun. Mhm. To people who live in my town. But I was like, that's it. I'm sending everything direct so I don't have to deal with it later. So those are moments of sprinting, but I did not work all day today. This is the first real moment I've worked today. I checked in at 7:30. I checked in at 8 o'clock. I did my posts for the day. I made sure that all my orders went through and all that stuff, but that was it. And I've been resting because I know that there's more to this sprint. And that's what I'm talking about. If I'd woken up in the morning today after 3 hours sleep and just kept running, by tonight I would be ripping people's heads off. And you don't fight about the thing that is the real problem, right? You drop something off the counter and you're like, everybody puts things everywhere. So that's what happens. And then that's why husbands are like, I hate this Mary Kay thing. We don't want them to hate the Mary Kay thing. We want them to like the Mary Kay thing. So you got to make sure that you're following a sprint and that you're following those rules. So as you run towards June 30th, okay, you're going to make sure that you're taking sanctioned breaks. And when I say sanctioned, what I mean is when you've decided to take a break and you set a timer for a break, that is strategic too. So during a sprint, everything is strategic, everything, even rest. Even another thing that starts with S is strategic and planned. And Mary Kay Ash would be looking over her glasses at you, telling you to do those things. She would always say, men understand 3 things. They understand cars, they understand money, and I can't help you with the 3rd thing. Don't forget that she was coaching women in the 60s who were still responsible for dinner at the end of the day. They were still responsible for doing all those things. Do you know she used to tell women to take a cast iron pan and put some butter and a little bit of onion in it and throw it in the oven. And then when he walks in the door, it smells like dinner's cooking. Hand him a beer and say, dinner's on its way. I'm just running a little late. But he can smell it. And then you go get it figured out. She would say that. She also used to tell you to keep Mr. Clean in a spray bottle and spray it by the front door, because then they would walk in thinking, wow, you've been cleaning all day. True story. Okay, so I mean, that was her. That's what she did. I mean, she was one of the I really feel like Mary Kay Ash was a major feminist. Remember, her best friend was a full lesbian. She wrote Fanny Flagg. She wrote Whistle Stop Cafe. Fried green tomatoes. That's her best friend. That's why Mary Kay is in there. Did you know that? Bet you didn't. Super hardcore progressive Baptist. Best friend's big old lesbian. So she knew what was up. She figured things out. She was strategic in her planning and her actions. And that's all we're talking about. So if you are going to take a Netflix night, strategically plan your Netflix night. Don't be sitting there going, that whole, I don't know, what do you want to watch? I don't know, what do you want to watch? I don't know, what do you want to watch? And 2 hours goes by, right? I know. With my husband, I'm like, we're watching a series and we're going to finish it together and we're not going to decide on anything else until that is done. Because it makes me mental. I can't even, right? If I'm going to strategically say, I'm going to sit down with you for an hour, then you better have something planned for an hour. And that's what I'm talking about. If you're going to rest, know when you're resting. Set timers for yourself. Take a coffee break. Take a lunch break. If you were at work and your boss asked you to work through lunch and through breaks, you would not stay in that job very long. Or if you were, you would be very resentful. So do not be resentful of your own boss, because you're the boss. Plan it. Even on days that I'm full tilt and I'm on the phone from like 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, I take a full 30-minute coffee break. And I don't do anything to do with Mary Kay. Nothing. I don't even go on social media because there might be a message about Mary Kay. Right? So I'll just watch a Netflix show, or I'll read a book or whatever, or I'll take staples out of my stairs. that's being done during this time. I usually do a big project in May and June because it's distracting for me, so that I'm not thinking about Mary Kay all the live long day, so that when I am working, I'm working strategically. Does that make sense? So as you're working and as you're running towards a finish line, there's certain things that you learn from people who do marathons. And so I found some of these different tips online. So I'm just going to grab it here. Hang on. Sorry. Different things that running teaches you. So one of the number one things is there are no shortcuts. You have to begin at the beginning, and you have to walk before you can run. You don't ever get to start a race halfway through. And nobody ever really starts the race without having planned a little bit or walked a little bit or stretched a little bit. Has anybody ever seen the How I Met Your Mother episode when Barney decides to run the New York City Marathon with no training, and then he can't stand up for like ever afterwards? Like, that's what happens. Okay, if you haven't, it's hilarious. So that's the number one thing. There are no shortcuts. So start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Did you just see that last week? My kids and I are addicted to How I Met Your Mother, so it's usually quoted all the time in our house. So you have to do that. And if you don't have a seminar ring goal, then get a June 30th goal. I don't care what it is. Something that makes you excited. And my personal favorite has nothing to do with Mary Kay products or things that you're going to get from Mary Kay. I would rather see you take that money and decide on what you're going to do with it. Personally. You're in this business to make money, and if you're not, you're lying. So figure that out. You know, well, lots of us are going to be spending tons of time in our backyards this summer. Does your backyard need something? Do you need something? Is there something you've wanted for a long time? Would you work hard for that? And even if you have a diamond ring goal, you know, not everybody's going to be bought into that, but they might be bought into other things in your house that you might want to be doing. Okay? And your husband definitely does not give a rip whether you have a diamond ring on your finger. So, and just because he doesn't have to buy you one. The second one is believing that you can do it is the first step towards getting it done. You have to know that you can finish the race. Or why would you even start it? So believe that you can finish it, no matter what. Number 3, sometimes success is simply not giving up. The people who finish marathons are the people who finish marathons. And it doesn't matter where they end up. And it's something that they have for the rest of their lives, that they finished a marathon, whatever it is. And that is, you know, I mean, the biggest thing that you can do in self-esteem training is to do something you didn't think you could do and see it all the way through completion. But people who quit marathons, they don't talk about that, do they? Oh, sorry, which one? The number 4 there? So number 3, sometimes success is simply not giving up. Just not giving up. That's what success really looks like sometimes. Now, I like to have pity parties. I'm good at that. And if you're going to have a pity party, at least have cake, because pity parties involve cake. And invite people. Solo pity parties are not fun. So you can invite people to have a little pity party with you, but you got to set a time limit on that too. You don't go to a never-ending birthday party. You can't go to a never-ending pity party. So if you decide you've had a bad day or whatever, then take the break for that night and say, tomorrow morning, I'm starting again. And whatever it takes for you to get excited again, you got to know what that is, because that's part of it. Number 4, there's always going to be something new to learn. There's always something new to learn. One of the things I love so much about this business is in 10 years, I have never been bored. Not once. And I cannot say that in any other thing I've ever done in my life. People are unpredictable. The company is unpredictable sometimes. Life is unpredictable sometimes. And products change and things change. And there's always something to be excited about. And there's always something to learn. So look at the ways that you can learn along your marathon and along your sprint. And my personal advice would be to pick one thing that you're going to learn in this race. This next one. This is just the sprint. Remember, this is not a full race. This is not a full marathon. It's just a sprint. But what's one thing you're really going to focus on in this? Is it your emotional management? Is it your time management? Is it your money management? Because you know those are the big three. So are you really going to focus on those things? And how are you going to work on that? And then everything you're learning. So if you start off in the morning with something to learn, then you're going to be more excited every day. But if you don't know what the heck you want to learn, then it's like trying to find something on Netflix. You're just scrolling. So pick a topic. I like to pick one topic every quarter. Just one thing I want to learn about. Like, is it, goal setting, or is it motivating a team, or is it addiction behavior? Is it whatever? It doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be anything to do with Mary Kay. You could be learning home renovation strategies. I don't care. But if you're learning something as you run, there's something to be thinking about too. And there's something to be excited about, so that this doesn't become boring. Because the sprint should be exciting. Shouldn't be boring. Marathons sometimes get boring, but sprints don't. Number 5, asking for guidance and support is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Asking for guidance and support is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. When we watch clips of people finishing big races, aren't we more inspired by those stories where they're limping across the finish line together? Aren't the, as I choke on my water. Remember that time Carol died? Aren't those the times that we're like, those are the viral videos, those are the ones that we share? Or these two trained every day and then they worked out together and they ended up doing it together. And in this time especially, it's so easy to be alone. So can you lean on somebody else right now? Because I can guarantee you, you guys will always trade off psychosis. It won't matter. My 3 besties and I, we talk almost every day, and I swear one of us is only down once every time, right? Like we're either, none of us are all down all the same day. And there's always one of them apologizing to the other 2, like, sorry I bring you down, but I'm having a bad day. And we're there to lift her up. And then the next day it's us, right? Or you guys know, right? And it's never all 3 of us at the same time. And if it were, I think we would just probably run away to some commune and never come back. And our husbands and children would be like, where did they go? They're just gone. So it's probably good that this doesn't happen all at the same time, but that's what happens with a power partner or something. And I know, Mary Kay advice is always like, don't reach out to somebody and laterally because he might be bringing them down and making them whatever. Check in on her first so that you're not bringing down somebody who's also having a bad day. But if she's having a good day and you're sort of like, oh, nothing's working for me, chances are she's going to feel better lifting you up than she will any other way. Don't you agree? Hasn't this happened to you? You're having a great sales day and somebody calls you and is like, I can't sell anything. You're like, oh my God, here, try this because I did this and it worked. And then she's all excited and she tries it. The only time it doesn't work is if you're depressed and then you call her and she's depressed, then you just go, cool, let's watch something funny together. Let's have a pity party together. We're both going to eat cake and we're going to watch something at the same time on Netflix, and then we're going to get back to work. That's how that works, right? So that's what I'm talking about, is finding those people for you. This is a really good one. Number 6, not every run is going to be the best ever. Not every run is going to be the best ever, but even a no good, rotten run will get you one step closer to your goal. Not every run is going to be the best ever. Not every seminar year is the best ever. Not every month is the best ever. But as long as you did it, it gets you where you need to go. It gets you closer. Even if it's only incrementally closer, it doesn't matter. Not every run is going to be the best ever. I'm sure we will not look back at this seminar year with much fondness. Sorry, but it will get us closer to where we need to be. with this $24 starter kit, imagine the people we're bringing into our business that could do amazing things. That in 10 years are going to say, this was the best seminar year ever because it's the year I joined. Number 7, no one can reach your goals for you. They're there only for you to earn. No one can do it for you. No one can do it for you. Nobody can run a race for you. They can help you pick out your shoes. They can run beside you, but they can't do it for you. And then when we fail the race, sometimes we get into a blame game that it's somebody's fault, but they can't run it for you. You might have some hurdles and obstacles, but every runner does. It's probably in this list. Okay, number 8. Some of the best motivation will come from surrounding yourself with a positive team who has your back. And isn't that true? Aren't you more excited to do stuff when you see other people doing stuff? When they're excited and they're sharing their sales? So that means, solemn covenant, you guys, you have to share your successes with the team. And you think it's bragging, but it isn't. It's inspiring. You have to. Because when I see somebody being awesome, I'm inspired to do it too. And if they're not, that's on them, not on you. Your job is to be out there inspiring others. And leadership starts right now. Whether you have a team or not, leadership starts when you're leading other people. Whether they're yours or not, doesn't matter. Okay, number 9, the harder the challenge, the greater the reward. I finish Court of Sales every year. I've never not done it. However, the year of the floods in High River, I realized that I was busy with my team and I wasn't so much busy with my customers. And I realized I was super, super, super far away in May and June. Like this was in May or in June that it happened. And I had just finished my numbers at the end of May going, oh no, here I am not going to finish this. And that year was my favorite. I took the ring, and I usually take cash. I took the ring that year because it was like, I've never worn it. But it was so powerful to me to do it because I didn't think I could do it. And we did it anyway in the midst of a huge crisis. So the harder the goal, the more you feel it. The harder the challenge, the greater the reward. And number 10, the best and only definition of success is yours. You can't be running somebody else's race. You can't be running somebody else's goal for you. The only successes that you'll feel are for your own stuff, okay? Your success is based on what makes you feel full, completed, and challenged. So it doesn't matter if I email you and say, you can do this. If you don't care and you do it anyway, then you'll be like, see, Carol, here you go. I earned my ring. Not exciting for you. Figure out what success is to you. Figure out how you can get this goal on the ground. Maybe success is to you that you're going to contribute $1,000 wholesale towards your team. Like that's a big deal to you. And then that means that you're going to have $1,000 in your pocket. And you can say when she's on stage or director's on stage or whatever, that you helped do that, that you did $1,000 towards that for that goal. That's a big thing. If you're somebody who likes to do things for others, that might be a huge part of it. That might be a huge success. It doesn't matter. It might be that you want to pay for a doghouse in the backyard. Maybe it's for your husband to live in. I don't care. But whatever it is, figure it out so that you can be so excited about it. If you're not excited about the diamond ring, take the cash and figure out what would make you excited about it. What could you use that money for? And don't you dare just put it in a bank account because that's not what it's for. You got to have something tangible with the money. This is the one thing I've learned from taking cash. One of them is my dog. And when I see my dog, I think that's my quota sharing that year was my dog. I didn't take a B and I took the money and I paid for my dog. So when I see Willow, that's my ring, right? So think about something tangible that you can use that money for. And if you are going to put it away for something fun, because that is what success is. And realize that as you sprint, the goal is to stay on the same course towards the success that you know is happening. So your marathon finish line has to stay in your sights because it's strategic. So you're going to sprint, but if you're sprinting this way and your goal is over here, that will not help you at all. And it doesn't matter how fast you run, you won't go anywhere towards your goals. So you have to know if your goal is to lead a powerful, amazing team of women who take care of each other, and then you're cheating and being mean to people on the way to your big goal, your ring or whatever, you're not going towards it. You're over here. And it doesn't matter how sparkly that ring is, it will not feel good. So keep your end goal in mind. Keep the idea of who you want to recruit and why you want to recruit them and who do you want to sell to and why do you want to sell to them at the forefront. Don't put all your profit into your ring. Pretend you can't, would be my advice. Put it in a bank account. If you have to use it at the end, you can. But pretend you can't, and it will make you hustle harder. The biggest blessing I ever had in this business is I didn't have a credit card. I could not order more than I made, ever. My husband had to go down to the Money Mart to put money, because they didn't even have Interact then, right? So we had to get a titanium Visa from Money Mart, and people, in my pink Cadillac, would have to go do that. And people would be like, yeah, right, she's making money. She'd be down at the Money Mart, but he's putting money on it because I didn't want a credit card. And it was such a huge blessing for me because I could not buy things if I couldn't get it. I couldn't use my profits because I needed my profits to pay for my life. You know, really be careful. Be careful as you're strategically running that it's not chaos, because that just looks like Phoebe running. And that's not successful either, right? You're not going to go very far and no one's going to want to follow you. So a sprint is not chaos. A sprint is not crazy. A sprint is just strategic, faster running. That's it. Strategic, simple, systematic running. And you absolutely can get anything that you want. And if you know this seminar, I mean, if anybody's like, as if I am not earning a ring, I do not give a rip. Then figure it out. What is it? Get caught up in the excitement of June 30th because it is exciting and you won't want to not be part of that. It won't matter. Has anybody ever been, I know you guys have been part of the end of the year stuff and not been finishing a ring? Anyone? And still been excited? We have new consultants so excited to find out what the goal is and how many more lip glosses and oh my God, get that excited. And don't miss out on that because it's fun. And everything you do is leading you up to July because that's the start of a brand new year. So even if all you did is sold your ass off in June and only ordered what you absolutely had to, and then you had a big order to do in July and you felt so awesome about it, great. And if your directors are listening, I'm very sorry. But honestly, do it. Whatever it takes to be excited about this business, just be excited. Be excited to inspire women. You have to remember so many of our customers are so excited to see us run at the end of the year. They talk about it. They remember it. They remember the year that we were queen and I sold $10,000 wholesale in one day on Facebook. One day. Who was there? Y'all remember. It was the year that we had 2 lash intensities per order. And I had to send, and then I called Mary Kay and I'm like, listen, I think I ordered 60 little boxes. You could just put them all together. You don't have to ship them out. And they're like, yeah, we sort of have to because you paid for the shipping. So then we have to send you the little boxes. And my front doorstep was just covered in little boxes, just so many little boxes. with paper inside and two little, I was like, really, you guys? But they have to, right? Because that's how the corporation works. They couldn't do it any other way. But it was insane. I had 3 people sitting at my kitchen table with computers and keyboard, and we were like running, and people still talk about it. That was almost 5 years ago, and they still talk about it. People who aren't in Mary Kay talk about it. Who are you inspiring to finish something that they needed to finish, whether it has anything to do with this business or not? And don't you agree that Facebook has gotten real boring lately, so we might as well get excited and do something fun? And not be sharing weird articles and stuff. Right? Nobody wants to hear about COVID anymore. I don't care. They just want to see something fun. So do something fun. Have some fun. Run your asses off because you can do this. You can absolutely do whatever it is that you think you can do. And it's just a sprint. And then gear up because July is going to be amazing. Okay? All right, wait. Hang on. We got to music it out. If we're going to do it, we got to do it. Oh, I missed it. There it is. Okay, I love you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Carol.
Oh, the draw. Wait, don't leave. Hang on. Stop recording.